Picture this. You're standing in a dive shop staring at an entire wall of fins, and you have absolutely no idea what separates a good fin from a bad one. That was me 3 years ago, totally overwhelmed and honestly kind of embarrassed to ask. I'm Camila Reyes, and back then, I grabbed a pair that looked decent, paid way too much, and spent my first dive trip nursing blisters that took weeks to heal. Turns out, getting your fins set up right from the beginning changes everything underwater: your buoyancy, your energy, even how much you actually enjoy the dive. You're listening to the Scuba Gear Lab podcast. Quick note before we dive in, everything you're about to hear is researched, verified, and written by real divers and gear enthusiasts, but the voice you're hearing is AI generated, so we can get this info to you faster and more consistently. If you've been listening for a while, thanks for being here. Really means a lot. And if you're new, welcome to the show. We put out new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday covering all kinds of scuba gear topics, especially the stuff that matters when you're just getting started. Today we're talking about fin setup, so let's jump right in.
So this is the checklist I wish someone had handed me before I bought my first pair. No technical overload, just the practical stuff that actually matters when you're getting started. Let's start with fit and style, because this is genuinely the foundation of everything else. The first decision you'll face is choosing between open heel and full foot designs, and where you dive matters a lot here. Open heel fins require booties and adjust with straps, which makes them perfect if you're diving in different water temperatures or doing shore entries over rocky surfaces. Full foot fins slip on like slippers and work great for warm water boat diving. But you're barefoot and they don't adjust much. Here's a mistake I made that I want you to avoid. I tried on fins in the shop wearing thin socks, then showed up to my first cold water dive with thick 5mm booties. The fins barely fit and my toes were cramped the entire dive. If you're going with open heel fins, bring your actual booties to the fitting, not similar ones, the actual ones you'll wear underwater. When you try fins on, check that your toes don't touch the front of the foot pocket. There should be about a ½ inch of space. Your toes cramming against the end is a recipe for numbness and cramping, especially on multi-dive days. I still remember doing 3 dives in Cozumel with fins that were slightly too small. By the second dive, my feet were screaming. The heel strap, if you have one, should hold your foot snugly without cutting in. When you flex your foot, the heel shouldn't slip out. But if the strap is leaving deep marks on your skin after just trying them on in the shop, they're too tight. You want that Goldilocks fit, snug but comfortable. Now, adjustable straps or spring straps are worth considering, even though they cost a bit more. Traditional rubber straps work fine, but spring straps make getting your fins on while bobbing in the water so much easier. After struggling with regular straps on a rocking boat, I upgraded and never looked back. It's one of those small quality-of-life improvements that makes a real difference. Test the flexibility of the blade by wiggling it. Stiffer blades give you more power per kick but require stronger leg muscles. As a beginner, I found medium stiffness blades easier to use for longer periods without getting exhausted. Your legs will get stronger as you dive more. You don't need to start with the stiffest fins just because they look professional. Moving on to materials and construction. This was honestly the part that confused me most when I started researching. The materials your fins are made from affect how they perform underwater, how long they last, and how easy they are to travel with. Traditional rubber fins are durable and affordable, but heavier. These fins can take a beating. I've seen rental fins that are probably a decade old, still working fine. The downside is they're heavy in your luggage. If you're mostly diving locally and not traveling much, the weight doesn't matter as much as durability and cost. Most modern fins use composite materials, which blend lighter weight with good performance. These usually combine a softer rubber for the foot pocket and a stiffer composite for the blade. They offer a nice middle ground, lighter than pure rubber, more affordable than high-end options. My current fins use a composite blade, and I love them for Caribbean travel.
Carbon fiber and fiberglass are out there, but honestly, they're for advanced divers with specific needs. Yes, they're incredibly light and efficient, but they're also expensive and sometimes more fragile. Unless you're doing technical diving or have a specific performance need, I'd skip these for your first pair. Get comfortable with standard fins first. Pay attention to the thickness and shape of the blade too. Wider, shorter blades are generally more forgiving and easier to use with different kicking techniques, which is perfect when you're still learning. Long, narrow blades are more efficient but require better technique. I started with shorter, wider blades and found them much easier to manage while I was still figuring out my buoyancy and trim. Now let's talk about split fins versus paddle fins, because this is probably the most common question I hear from new divers. I've used both styles extensively, and honestly, each has its place. Split fins require less effort per kick, but need more kicks overall. The split design channels water through the blade, which means each kick feels easier on your legs. This is amazing if you're worried about cramping or don't have super strong legs yet. The trade-off is you'll need to kick more frequently to move the same distance as paddle fins. Paddle fins give you more power and control with each kick. Traditional paddle-style blades push more water per stroke, which means fewer kicks to cover the same distance. I prefer these when I'm carrying camera gear and need precise control, or when I'm diving in currents where I need that extra push. They do tire your legs faster when you're starting out, though. For relaxed recreational diving in calm conditions, split fins work great. On easy reef dives where I'm just cruising around looking at fish, split fins feel effortless. The reduced leg strain means I can focus more on buoyancy and enjoying the dive, rather than thinking about my legs. But paddle fins excel when you need power or precision, in currents, during ascents and descents, or when I need to back kick. That's a technique for underwater photography that lets you move backward. Paddle fins give me way more control. If you plan to advance beyond basic recreational diving, paddles are probably the better long-term choice. Here's something that took me forever to figure out. Your kicking style matters more than the fin style. Some divers flutter kick constantly, others use a frog kick or modified flutter. Split fins reward a steady flutter kick rhythm, while paddles work with more kicking styles. Pay attention to how you naturally kick underwater before committing to a fin type. Alright, so you've got new fins. There's some prep work that makes a huge difference in comfort and longevity. I wish someone had told me about these steps before my first dive with brand new fins. Plan to break them in gradually, not on a 5-dive day. New fins, especially with new booties, can cause hot spots and blisters until they mold to your feet a bit. Do a single dive or a pool session first. I ignored this advice and ended up with massive blisters after a full day of diving. Not fun when you have 4 more dive days ahead of you. Apply anti-chafe products to known problem areas before diving. Body Glide or similar products on your heels and the top of your feet can prevent blisters during that break-in period. I now apply this religiously on the first few dives with any new fins or booties. It's such a simple step that saves so much pain. Rinse your fins thoroughly in fresh water after every dive day. Salt, sand, and other debris can degrade the materials and straps over time. I keep a mesh bag in my dive bag specifically for rinsing gear, and my fins get dunked and agitated in fresh water before they go into storage. This habit has kept my fins looking and working like new. Check straps and buckles regularly for wear. Straps are usually the first thing to fail on fins. Before every dive trip, I inspect the straps for cracks, the buckles for looseness, and make sure everything still adjusts smoothly. Replacing a $10 strap at home is way better than dealing with a broken fin strap on a dive boat. Store fins flat or hanging, never bent or crushed under other gear. I learned this after leaving fins crammed in my gear bag for months. They developed a permanent bend that affected how they performed in the water. Now they hang in my gear closet or lay flat in a bin.
Seems obvious now, but it wasn't something I thought about initially. If you fly frequently to dive, consider travel-specific fins. After struggling to fit my fins in my luggage alongside a BCD and regulator for every trip, I eventually got a second pair of shorter travel fins. They're not quite as powerful, but they pack so much easier. If you're planning regular dive trips, this is worth considering even as a beginner.
Now let's talk about matching fins to your diving environment, because one of the biggest mistakes I made early on was thinking any fin would work anywhere. The reality is that your diving environment should influence which fins you choose, or at least help you understand what to expect from your fins. Cold water diving needs exposure protection, which affects fin sizing. When I first tried cold water diving, I showed up with fins that fit perfectly with my 3mm booties, but the dive required 7mm booties, and my feet didn't fit. If you're diving in varying water temperatures, you either need adjustable fins or multiple booty options that all work with your fins. Strong currents require more powerful fins. Diving in Cozumel's drift dives showed me why some people love stiff, powerful fins. Trying to stay with the group while getting swept along by current takes more leg power than cruising a calm reef in Belize. If you're diving in current-prone areas, lean towards stiffer, paddle-style fins. Travel diving favors lighter, more compact options. Every pound counts when you're flying to dive destinations, and fins are usually the bulkiest item in your bag. I eventually switched to fins that are slightly shorter and lighter specifically for travel. They're not quite as powerful, but the trade-off is worth it when I'm trying to stay under baggage weight limits. Before you head to the dive site with your new fins, run through this quick verification. Do a fit test with your actual dive booties if you're using open heel fins. Confirm straps adjust easily and hold securely. Check for any sharp edges or rough spots that might cause blisters. Verify fins are appropriate for your planned diving environment. Practice putting fins on and taking them off, especially in water if possible. Have backup fin straps or know where to buy them at your destination. Make sure you've got a rinse and dry routine established for post-dive care, and mark your fins with your name or distinctive marking because dive boats get chaotic and everyone's fins start looking the same.
Let me answer a few questions I get asked all the time. What type of fins should a beginner scuba diver choose? Most beginner scuba divers should choose open heel fins with adjustable straps and medium stiffness paddle blades. They offer versatility across different diving conditions, work with varying booty thicknesses, and provide good control while you're learning fundamental kicking techniques and buoyancy. How do I know if my scuba fins fit properly? Your scuba fins fit properly when your toes don't touch the front of the foot pocket with about ½ inch of space. The heel strap holds your foot snugly without cutting into your skin or leaving deep marks, and your foot doesn't slip out when you flex it. All tested while wearing the actual booties you'll dive with. Should I get split fins or paddle fins as a beginner? As a beginner, paddle fins are generally the better choice because they provide more power and control for learning different kicking techniques, work better in varied conditions including currents, and give you room to grow into more advanced diving without needing to upgrade, though split fins can be easier on your legs during the initial learning phase. Setting up your first fin system doesn't have to be complicated, but it's worth taking the time to get it right. The difference between fins that fit properly and ones that don't can literally make or break your dive. I've experienced both sides of that equation, and properly fitted fins that match your diving style make everything underwater so much more enjoyable. Start with the basics. Get the fit right, choose a design that matches where you actually dive, and don't overthink the materials and features. You can always upgrade later as your diving evolves and you figure out what specific features matter to you. I'm still figuring out my ideal setup after 3 years, and that's part of the fun of diving. Your gear grows with your skills and experiences. The most important thing is to get in the water and start diving.
Perfect fins sitting in your closet don't teach you anything, but decent fins that fit well will help you build skills and confidence with every dive. Take care of them, pay attention to what works and what doesn't, and adjust from there. Happy diving! Thanks for listening to this episode of the Scuba Gear Lab podcast. Just a reminder, we drop new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you're finding this helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a 5-star rating and write a quick review. I know it sounds like a small thing, but it genuinely helps other divers find the show, and it lets us know we're covering the stuff you actually want to hear about. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe or follow so you get notified the second a new episode goes live. See you on the next one!